Well, I have a general feeling that music can be enriched by trying to embrace the whole cosmos, the whole world, in all its complexity. When you sit out in a wooded area like this and you look up at the trees, you see that the branches are very simple things, but there are so many of them, they make very complex patterns of fine lines, web-like designs. Maybe one of the reasons I'm drawn to the orchestra as a medium is that it has very rich possibilities. There are lots of people playing lots of instruments that together form some very rich texture.
I often start a piece when I don't really have much of a conception for it. I start from very concrete sound images that occur to me. It's perfectly practical to be outdoors with just little bits of music paper. You can jot down little quick notes about just sound. I keep calling them sound images. Any listener to symphonic music would be familiar with Mozart and Haydn, Beethoven and Schubert and Brahms, and later 19th century composers, Mahler. Closer to my particular way of hearing would be composers that are a little bit later, particularly Debussy, Stravinsky, Ravel, Messiaen, George Crumb, the latter two of which were among my teachers. When I was asked to write a piece for the dedication of the new organ at the Kimmel Center, I was very honored and deeply afraid because I didn't know anything about the organ. So my learning curve was very steep, and I sat at our small, creaky Baroque organ at Swarthmore College and got a lot of hands-on experience, and I discovered kind of rough versions of sonorities that really appealed to me.
So I have a single line melody where all that's written is, but each note is colored by overtones. So this is the note that you play, and then you add in this, which adds in a fifth. It's like you can hear that note in addition to the principal note. And then I add in another stop, which adds in a third, which is like, you're going to hear that note.
Then I was lucky enough to be able to work at the Kimmel Center organ while it was still under construction, only when the hall was free in the dead of night. And then I had a constant email correspondence with the organist who was to play the piece, Olivier Latry, the organist of Notre Dame in Paris. And he came here and got to work on the organ the day before my piece was rehearsed. So we spent an afternoon very intensely going through all the colors that the piece would need. The collaboration turned out to be a wonderful process.
The melody?
Yeah.
Probably not, because there's going to be all the cellos and basses and then all the violas and violins.
Mahler used to say that he thought a symphony should contain a world, a whole world. Maybe that's megalomaniacal, but that's what you do when you write a piece. You're creating a certain world that the listener will enter and experience something that's worthwhile in some way. After all that work, when the thing is actually performed, it can be immensely thrilling to have that world that you imagined actually become real. That's a wonderful experience.